he's not like using this aspirationally at all yet. Like he's just gonna gloat for a while.
Yeah.
Like he's not coming out like I beat Cena, I need a title shot. No,
Right.
he's just gonna come out and be an asshole for a while, which I kind of enjoy.
When he gets back in the ring next time, there should be enough breath between his retirement match with Cena and the next match he wrestles, where even the people who want to boo him are anxious to see what he's about to do next.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're coming up on a new year, and boy, it has been an incredible 2025 for the Lariat Lounge. It has been a great experience doing this, and I'm happy to be back. We took a little bit of a break this week. Everybody went home for Christmas. Everybody hung out with their family, got some good food, hopefully some rest. If you weren't driving, 20 hours round trip like some people. But hey, you know what? You do what you do for the people that you love. I ain't hating on it. I'm just saying it couldn't be me. But before we get into all of that, Skeeter, Merry Christmas, man. How you doing?
Good. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and everyone else that's celebrating something, anything out there. And if you're not celebrating, I still wish you happy days. So yeah, fun time of the year, closing down the year in wrestling. And yeah, we got some things to talking about, but WWE kind of took it a little slow this week as well.
They did. I think we hit the nail on the head. I want to say it was like last week or maybe it was the week before we were talking about all of the spend time with your family ads that they were kind of like running during the show, and how that was definitely hinting to the fact that Monday Night Raw was pre-taped. It absolutely was pre-taped. And I didn't realize that until I pulled up Netflix. And I was going to go, it was coming up on 8:00, and I was, all right, let me get everything in place. And I go pull it up on Netflix, and the latest episode for December 22nd was already there. And I was like, when did this air? And I hit play. It started from the beginning, played all the way through. I said, okay, they must pre-tape this. I don't know when it went up, but it was definitely pre-taped. So I'm assuming they probably did that right after SmackDown or something like that last week. And they just gave all of the wrestlers a, extended period of time to be home and be with their families, which I'm all in support of. So that wasn't no problem either. They had maybe like a little slack week this week because, everybody needs a little bit of a break. And there is no off season in professional wrestling. So, you get it where you can. But, there is no off season here really with the Lariat Lounge either. We're a lot like pro wrestling, Skeeter. Like, we don't take holidays off. I mean, we took holiday off, but we still work every week. But hey, I got some news. Okay. News for everyone. Skinner, you ready for this news, man?
Maybe. Hit me with it. We'll see. We'll see after.
Next week, December 31st, Skeeter and I will be giving you all a special gift for the end of the year. It is the first annual Lariat Awards, homies. We're handing out the Lariats. These are our superlatives for the year. I'm talking about this like it is a fully fleshed out idea, but it's not. I'm still putting it together right now. But I guarantee next week, it'll be all out here for everyone to consume. So you may be asking yourself, Everson, what are the Lariats? Glad you asked. So superlatives, we're going to be giving out our picks for who is doing great in the world of professional wrestling and what we think about them. And then we're going to determine who the best was for the year. And obviously, because it's coming from the Lariat Lounge, it's definitive and true. So we'll definitely be covering match of the year for the men's separate and the women's separate. We'll definitely be doing male wrestler of the year, female wrestler of the year. We'll definitely be doing a most improved for men's separate and women's separate. And then we'll definitely be doing who to watch. I think that's what I'll go with that for that category, like who to watch. Like who is up and coming and is the quote unquote next big thing. I think it's going to be fun. So Skeena and I will be getting together and we will be going through each one of these categories. We'll be going over the selections for who is in each one of these categories, and then we'll be discussing them. And we'll be discussing the year that they've had, the matches that are in the particular categories. And between he and I, we will be putting our brains together and we will be determining who and what wins in each category and wins the first annual Lariat. Skeena, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think about this special episode that the fans are going to be getting next week?
I'm already looking forward to it. I think it should be fun. I got to start preparing here as soon as we cut because man, a lot of stuff happened this year, and some of it seems so far out of the realm. I mean, this goes back further than WrestleMania, and I'm not sure I can tell you what all happened at WrestleMania. So it'll be
Yeah.
fun to go back through all the things we enjoyed and maybe didn't enjoy this year and refresh myself. But definitely already looking forward to it.
I think the hardest ones for the hardest ones I think that are going to be to put together are probably the ones for like match of the year, because I'd love to have at least 3 for each of those categories, right? And thinking about 3 matches that could go head to head for match of the year, or maybe even 4 matches. Ooh, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. And that may actually require me to go back and rewatch some matches just to kind of see if I can, see if it hits me the same way the second time. But we got plenty to go off of. I mean, like, we got Cena's entire retirement run. We've got WrestleMania from this year. We've got the Royal Rumble from this year. Every PLE. And there were some really good matches, and some that came out before the
Yeah,
podcast even started. So
yeah.
it's going to be quite a bit.
Some things we may talk about for the first time ever.
Absolutely, which is an even better reason to tune in next week and catch me and Skeena giving out the initial lariats for the podcast. So it's going to be fun. And then the second half of the podcast will be a 2025 recap. So that'll be me and Skeena cracking open a Steve Weiser and chatting about all things 2025 in the world of the Lariat Lounge and professional wrestling. And we'll just be kicking back, we'll just be shooting shit, and we'll just be recapping on this awesome year that's been 2025 and what we're looking forward to in 2026. So please, guys, tune in and be a part of that next week, because, we couldn't have done this without you. And 2026, I truly believe, is going to be a big year. And I would love to see some of the same faces in 2025 riding with us in 2026, because I've got plans. And my hope and my prayer is that these plans come to fruition and the Lariat Lounge takes its next step in its evolution. It'll be fun. It'll be great. If it works, it'll be awesome. So I look forward to seeing you all there next week. But oh, wait, somebody's in the back. I don't know how to get here. I'm glad you said something too. I got this guy here named Andrew Skeens. Skeena, can you please let the guy in the back and anybody who's with him know where they can find us so that they can come back here next week and check out the first annual Lariats?
If you stumbled in and need to know how to get back, this is the Lariat Lounge. We are coming at you once a week, every week, as a podcast on all your favorite platforms. That's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows, that's where we'll be. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast, and you can always feel free to send us an email at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
And please, wherever it is that you're listening to this podcast, if you like what we're doing here, leave us a like rating wherever it is that you're listening. It's a very small and free thing for you, but for us, it genuinely means the world. So we really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But hey, enough with the fluff, guys. Let's jump right into the stuff. So, Skeena, I was talking to my brother over the holiday, and he told me that he listens to the podcast. And my brother doesn't actually keep up with the product. Like, he watches it every now and then, and not the whole show. He may catch a highlight or something like that. but he primarily follows professional wrestling through our podcast. I just thought that was just the coolest thing, that because there are other things that I am like that with. Not necessarily professional wrestling per se, but there are definitely other things that I follow primarily through podcasts or YouTube channels, and I don't particularly keep up with it on a day to day. But yeah, dude, I thought that was really cool. We were just chatting at my grandmother's over dinner, which it's at your grandma's house, so dinner's at like 2. And so we were talking, and he was just like, "Yeah, I've listened to the podcast, man. I don't really watch, but I listened to your podcast, and oh my gosh, I can't remember the other podcast he listens to, but it's God, it's not Bruce Pritchard. Gosh, I mean, I can't think of his name, but he's got a wild podcast, and he kind of shoots from the hip, and he's always saying some crazy stuff. But dang, his name is escaping me right now. I feel like a
I mean,
total.
that's Cornette, Dutch
That's it.
Mantel,
You pulled it right up. See,
Cornette.
all I had to do was say he said some crazy stuff. It's Jim Cornette. He listens to our podcast and Jim Cornette's podcast, and that's it. I said, hey, you know what? That's good company to be in.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I will take that. Jim Cornette is a legend in this business. So the fact that you listen to his podcast and ours, and that's the only thing you really listen to as far as professional wrestling, and you've got so many options out there to listen to. And the fact that you would listen to, I know I'm your brother, but I would hope that we put forward a quality product that keeps you informed on what's happening each week, and that our opinions are ones that you value enough to give you some sort of informed perspective on the world of professional wrestling, so much that you can feel like you're keeping up with the product. I thought that was just a really cool thing to hear this week.
Yeah, that's cool. Hopefully, we don't steer him too wrong in anything.
Listen, I hope not. And listen, to be fair, like if you do get steered wrong, any perspective that you hear on the Lariat Lounge are just the perspectives of the hosts Everson, Godfrey, and Andrew Skeens. The Lariat Lounge does not support any backlash you get from taking comments that you hear up here and then regurgitating them to somebody who watches more professional wrestling than you do. So be warned, because you have been. But we do try to give you good content here. So I appreciate you, Kellen. I appreciate everybody who listens to the podcast, and keep coming back. We do love to see you here. So let's jump right into Friday Night SmackDown.
Let's do it.
To be fair, I did not watch this live. To be fair, I didn't
watch either
Saturday.
show live this week. So
Me either. I think I turned on Raw, and like I was telling you, I think it was right before we went on. I was telling you how I think I watched it. I watched it ahead of schedule because I think that Raw was pre-taped, and so I watched it way ahead of 8:00. But pre-taped allows you to skip through a bunch of stuff. So I didn't do a whole lot of skipping through that, but SmackDown, I absolutely did. I am genuinely concerned and also intrigued with SmackDown in 2026, Skeeter. The fact that they're going to 3 hours.
Yeah.
I would love to see more people get opportunities to get things fleshed out. I definitely feel like there were some people who were lost in the cracks, and I'll save some of this extra talk for next week because that's going to be the whole recap. But I'd be remiss if I did not mention it here because I think it matters. There are some people who definitely got lost in the cracks this year who, according to some, probably should be getting more of a push than what they are. Maybe it's a pacing issue with the show. Maybe there's not enough time to really flesh out some things, and people just kind of get lost in the shuffle. But I hope that 3 hours will give people more room to work and to mature in front of the audience. But I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't terrified, because SmackDown is not great to begin with. And they really need to do something to revamp this show because it just does not really leave a whole lot to be desired. And I took some notes here, and I wanted to start. Let's see, where are my notes? Let's see. Okay, so my first note, nothing much of note here. Um, my second note, I didn't watch it live. Okay, so we've covered all that. Okay. So let's talk about Cody and Drew.
Yes.
Let's talk about Cody and Drew because I think that's probably the most important thing that happened on this show.
Hmm.
So let
Yeah,
me
the
ask
Cody
you.
stuff.
So let me ask you this about Cody and Drew. Did the segment with Nick Aldis going to Drew McIntyre's house or wherever he's living in the States, did it happen on Raw? Or was that like a social media thing that happened before? I mean, not Raw, but did it happen on
I think
SmackDown? Or was
they I think they teased it on like social media and were like, "Oh, Cody showed up at Drew's house," and then they showed the segment on SmackDown.
okay. So I do remember seeing Nick Aldis. I listen, I don't know where they parked the car, but my guess would be look, if you're going to serve Drew McIntyre some sort of papers, what were they going to give him?
They were working out the deal for his reinstatement and match.
Okay. Okay. So I would think because they're not, serving him like a court summons, that Drew knew that they were coming. Okay. If Drew knows that you're coming,
Maybe. Who knows?
and listen, even if Drew did not know, it's not like Drew has like missed parole and he's got like warrants out, right? So it's not like he's gonna see the car pull up and flee out the back door. So why oh why do we get the shot of Nick Aldis and what I can only describe as Performance Center rent-a-cops, right? Walking down the street to Drew's house. Where did you park the car? Like the shot just starts with Nick and all these guys just walking down the street. And it's like, why did the quote unquote cops keep looking around as if somebody is about to bum rush them and keep grabbing their radios but not saying anything?
To be fair, the last thing we saw Drew doing was assaulting a WWE official. So I give them a little leeway here.
I will give you have carte blanche rule to give them
In
all the
in
leeway.
story in storyline, he assaulted an official.
Okay, and listen, folks. I'm nitpicking here. We're just having fun. If if we're if I'm to believe that okay, in storyline, the last time we saw Drew, he was assaulting officials. I can then understand maybe why Nick Aldis may need a police detail to go and serve these papers to Drew. Why is Nick walking in the front? Like he's walking in front, right? And all of the cops are following him, right? And they're all just kind of looking around. They keep touching their radios, but they're not saying anything. And everybody's walking with their hands on their just watch a few videos. Like you can make it a little more believable here. But, you know, all that being said, I guess when does Cody assault Drew? Like walk me through this, Skeeter, because I don't remember this.
Well, so they work out everything, and you get Cody and Nick go through the deal, and Cody wants Drew reinstated, so Nick's gonna work and get Drew reinstated and give him his title match, and Drew demands the clause in there that when he's reinstated, if Cody touches him before the match, that it is a Cody's going to be stripped of the title,
Right.
and Drew's upset about the unsafe working environment. And then, yes, Cody just shows up at Drew's home like a psychopath, which is hilarious and I kind of love, but it's just crazy. He's just showing up unannounced at his house.
Yeah, listen. Okay, so all right. First of all, thank you for filling me in on that. If my timeline serves correctly, then this deal is worked out with Nick Aldis and Cody first.
Yes.
Okay, and then Nick Aldis goes to Drew's house. And I guess Drew complains about the unsafe work environment.
Yes.
And then I guess the whole clause about if you lay a hand on Drew, then you lose a title is not said on screen at the time. I
That
guess.
part, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because
That's not
context
said
wise,
until
it
later,
fits.
yes.
Because then Cody then shows up at Drew's house and assaults him. So we then get to SmackDown. Cody's in the ring in the tightest black and gold pinstripe suit you've ever seen. And Nick Aldis comes out there and he's pretty much telling Cody that he's disappointed in him because I would have thought you would have trusted me to be able to get this finished. You said you were going to. And so I went to go handle this. And Drew is complaining about an unsafe work environment. And after the stunt you pulled, going to his house and attacking him, he's kind of proven right. And it forced me into a bad deal, right? Cody looks somewhat confused and is asking what is the deal? And the deal is if you if you lay a hand on Drew, you are going to be stripped of the WWE Championship. Okay, Cody looks the way you would think someone would look for all of like 6 seconds, which is shocked and taken aback a bit. But then Cody goes on to quote unquote tell Nick Aldis that he needs to really quote remember who he is, and then proceeds to roll out all of the things that he's done this year and in his time since he's been back, and kind of allude to softly, the whole I left WWE, I made another company, I came back, I won the Royal Rumble twice, I dethroned Roman Reigns, I'm the king of the ring, and I beat John Cena, the GOAT, for this title. And then he proceeds to tell Nick Aldis that I don't work for you. I work for them, points at the fans, right? And then he says that as long as I hold this, you work for me. Okay, listen, I'm going to say
And
this.
and when Nick's talking to him, he says, "You're not above the law, Cody." And Cody gave him the "I am the law."
Oh, yeah, as
As
long as I
long
hold this, I am the law.
hmm
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm going to tell you like this, man. Look, I'm saying this specifically about Cody and not about baby faces in general. Sometimes I think Cody is written to look stupid. And I don't know if it's done on purpose, but I think sometimes Cody's character just seems dumb. I don't know what it is. It's like while he's trying to look tough or brave or look like a fighting champion, he just does things that may be written to look like someone is being reckless in their desire to to fight, and their desire to be champion, and their desire to do this and desire to do that. But sometimes it just comes across as short-sighted and a little dumb. Like, why, oh why would you tell Nick Aldis that as long as I hold this, the WWE Championship, that I am the law? No, you're not. No, you're not. And not in a literal or figurative sense. You're not. You don't make the rules in WWE, right? You can't make other people enforce those rules in WWE. You can't just do whatever you want. Further, Nick Aldis also does not work for you. You are not his. You know what this reminds me of? Somebody who gets put into a position and has no idea what that position actually is. Like he won the world championship and nobody sat down and told him that this is not part of what a champion is. Like he gets backstage and somebody's like, "Hey, Cody. Hey man, look, Nick doesn't work for you, right?" "Well, yes, he does. I'm the champion." "Not that. That's not how that works, man. Do you still work under him? Like you're just the champion, bro." "Oh, so I can't go up there and just tell everybody what to?" No. Actually, like the board can come down here right now and just be like, "Cody, go home," and you have to go home. It just seems dumb sometimes. And honestly, Skeener, sometimes I don't even know if the fans buy it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a segment, and we've kind of always known, and especially as we've gotten further into this, that there's definitely a segment of fans that do not buy Cody, I guess.
Yeah,
And but that's who knows? Who knows whether that's I was a little different on this segment and this stuff. I enjoyed it. I
okay.
liked it. And maybe I do admit, and as we talked about last week, I am biased towards enjoying things. And I
Yeah,
guess maybe sometimes I'm searching for something to make this seem good, I guess,
sure.
when others would not. But I kind of like it in the sense that, okay, yes, he is saying absolutely ridiculous things. But one, at a baseline, that's kind of just funny and entertaining to me. And I think it works with Cody, at least for me, because he's so committed to it that it works for me. But also I take the angle of Drew has pushed him to the point with these attacks and not, you know, leaving it be when the feud is quote unquote over and still coming back, that he has lost all sense of anything. Like he's just out of his mind because Drew McIntyre has pushed him that far. And I think there's somewhere to go for that, especially, and here I'm willing it into existence again. If Cody does drop the title to Drew at some point, which he may not, who knows, but there's that angle of I have pushed you so far mentally that you are not yourself. You are going to make missteps and be reckless, and I will capitalize that. And it reminds me of the way they kind of did this same thing with, man, a long time ago, what, 14 years ago now, with Christian and Randy Orton, where
Okay.
Randy actually lost the title briefly when he got disqualified in a match
Yeah.
with a stipulation that if he got DQ'd and Christian just pushed him to the point, and I think he kicked him low in the middle of a match, and that was just a finish. And not saying that's what they're going to do here, but it echoes that same way to me, that
Yeah.
Cody has been pushed beyond the bounds of what he will take, and now he has just lost his mind, essentially.
See, I get it. And sometimes I feel like I catch that. Sometimes I feel like I catch that. And I've seen it in instances where Cody has been in the back and Drew is in the ring. Or, there was one time where like Cody came out and he was like, enough, enough. He was talking about something. I can't remember what it
Mm-hmm.
was, right? That I can understand, right? Cody he is over with Drew. You know what I'm saying? He's over with this crap and he's going to go take care of it. Fine, cool. I get it. I can even get behind to an extent because it's wrestling, right? Cody going to Drew's house. Listen, we all love a good home invasion angle. So, I can get it from a wrestling perspective. Where you lose me, though, is when Cody comes out there and starts telling his boss that I'm your boss. Like, that doesn't even cross the line of like, I'm so mad that I forgot that I work for you. That doesn't make any sense, right? That makes no sense at all. Further, if they were to just lean into some of this within the story, like maybe have somebody kind of not necessarily come into the story, but maybe somebody who is already on the peripheral based on the interactions that wrestlers have with one another, right? So maybe, let's see, this is on SmackDown. I'm trying to look who's even on this show. So I'm looking at the list of people who are up here. They don't have anybody up here particularly who could have, said something about this, but you could have done something where it's like somebody backstage, speaks to Cody and is like, hey man, it's like, you're doing a little too much, man. Like, Drew's got it using your head, man. You give something like that and tie it together, make it make sense. I can even give it some brownie points, even though it's ridiculous to tell your boss that because I'm the champion, I'm the law. That's nuts. Like that's nuts. But I do agree with you. I would.
Well, I do think it gives Drew some space to work with. Look, this guy is an egomaniac. Like he has lost his mind. He's coming to my home to beat me up. He's telling people he's the boss. Like what this guy has lost the plot entirely. And
I
it gives
agree.
Drew the space here to like seem like the
The rational one.
reasonable one as the heel, yeah, which is always a an interesting dynamic, I think.
I don't disagree with you. And listen, maybe Drew is the person. Maybe Drew needs to have like some segment where he's sitting down with Nick Aldis or someone, and it's just like he's totally deranged, man. Like he's coming to my house. He's assaulting me. I told you I don't feel safe in this work environment. And then what does he do? He shows up at my house. He assaults me. Now he's telling you that you work for him and that he's the law. Where's the law even involved in this? Like, what? This guy is mentally unstable. And Nick, I think he needs some help. Maybe that's what he needs is to not be champion, but maybe he needs to get some serious help. Listen, that's good stuff. And Drew is the perfect person to deliver something like that. I just hope they lean into that because some of the stuff that Cody was talking about was just nuts. Like it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But you're right though. There are a contingent of people out there who just don't buy Cody, and I get it. I totally get it. And I don't necessarily think I'm one of those people, but like I don't think I'm also one of those people who is totally down for Cody either. Like I appreciate Cody. I like Cody. But sometimes I feel like Cody's white meat babyface persona, it's like, I don't know. It comes across as phony. It comes across as phony. And then when you have moments where Nick Aldis is your boss, but more importantly, he's also supposed to be your friend, right? And you're telling him in the middle of the ring that, no, you do what I tell you to do. And I'm your boss. And you don't tell me what to do. And as long as I have this championship, I'm the law. And I'll do what I want to do. And I don't know. It just sometimes Cody does some things that just feel a bit heelish. And maybe Cody can use that one day. I think Cody will make a great heel. I didn't catch any
I
of that
think
in
he
the
will.
indie.
I don't think Cody's going to be a career babyface for the rest of his run in WWE. So,
Did you ever see any of his heel stuff outside of WWE?
a little bit, not a ton,
How
but
was it?
some. Good. I liked it. I mean, it's kind of exactly what you'd expect with just
Okay.
playing into the other side of this.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it works for me because it is so Cody, I guess.
Okay.
It, for me, like I probably would think it was sillier if it was someone else, but I think it's just so his brand and signature at this point that I'm like, yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, I get that. And listen, I that I think is the reason why I am okay with Cody because I get it. Like that's his brand, right? He is just the all American white meat, red blooded babyface. And fine. I totally get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, just like Cena was not everybody's cup of tea. And I think that is perfectly fine. I just think that Cody sometimes is just, I don't know, he's just made to look kind of goofy to me. But, it is what it is. I just hope that this feud with Drew, I genuinely hope this feud with Drew lends to maybe a title change. Not necessarily because I think that Cody's not a good champion, but I think that the white meat baby face always looks better when they're chasing. And Drew could legitimately be a monster heel if they wanted him to be. And we have not got to see, and I repeat for the people in the back, we have not got to see a Drew McIntyre at the top of the mountain since his return. He
Yeah.
won that title during the pandemic, and we didn't really get to embrace it. And then when he won it the second time, he lost it the same night. So we haven't got to see Drew really be able to be the monster heel on top of the world in this modern era of professional wrestling. And sometimes when you don't not really thinking about it, it's hard to believe because Drew is a staple in this business right now. You know what I mean? And it's weird to think about it, but it's absolutely the truth. And I think you could revisit Drew and Cody multiple times throughout 2026 if you really wanted to, because they're just so good together. I would love to see a title change happen between Cody and Drew. I'm not sure if WWE would do it, if I'm being honest, because in all likelihood, we're probably going to see a world championship title change at the start of 2026.
Really? Yeah,
I,
we'll get there.
we'll get there, but like that, I think that we're going to see a world title change in 2026. And I don't know if WWE is going to shuffle both titles at the same time or around the same time. But I mean, they could surprise us. But we'll get there. But yeah, your final thoughts, Skeeter, on the Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes home invasion, this new stipulation that Cody can't lay a finger on Mr. McIntyre or he gets stripped of the championship. Do you think, let me ask you this specifically, do you think that Cody is going to be able to abide by these rules?
I think yes, but it's going to be tough. I think he's gonna get close. I I loved it all.
Yeah.
I loved both segments. I loved the pre-tape. I loved the in the ring. It worked for me, but I can see where it didn't work for some others.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I will, we'll just have to wait and see what they do next because I'm not so sure if Cody's going to be able to abide by it. I mean, that's one way you can play around with
You
this
think
title.
he'll get stripped of his
I
title? I mean, I
think
could see it.
I could see that. I mean, if you think about it, right? Is this stipulation, not stipulation, is this thing that they've laid out with Drew? To my knowledge, this has been to quote unquote get Drew McIntyre reinstated on SmackDown. This is not around a upcoming match that they have at a PLE that's been announced, right? Typically, you get stuff like this around the announcement of a PLE. They're going to have a match on this PLE, and it's usually in a contract signing type deal. But they're just trying to get Drew, quote unquote, reinstated on SmackDown. And so now there's a stipulation that if Cody lays his hand on Drew, then the title gets vacated, right? The title gets vacated. There's no time frame on this. You know what I'm saying? And they haven't announced any type of point where it's like there'll be some sort of resolution. And this is just to get Drew back reinstated. So that means when Drew gets reinstated.
Well, there is a match that is involved. I think we have not announced the date yet. But they were talking about that in the pre-tape. Like it was one of the conditions of his reinstatement was a championship match. He gets a championship match. Drew's got to do the public apology, and then he pays his fine with his War Games check, essentially his Survivor Series check.
Okay, so he pays his fine. He makes a public apology to who?
To the referee he attacked at Saturday night's main event, right?
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so making a public apology to the referee that he attacked, and then he pays his fine with this purse that he got from Survivor Series, and then he'll be reinstated. And the reinstatement has a condition on Cody that Cody can't lay a hand on him until I guess they have a match, right? Because you got to lay hands on each other for the match. But the match has not been announced.
As far as I remember, correct.
Okay. So if that match does not happen in the month of January, like, because I mean, the first big PLE that we're going to get that has already been announced is the Royal Rumble. Right?
No, there's big, yes. There's that Saturday night's main event in Canada.
So it's probably likely going to happen there.
Probably.
It's likely going to happen there. Okay. And that, what Saturday is that on?
I want to say, I wanted to say the 13th, but 13th was Cena's.
So what is it?
Somewhere around there. I think it's the second.
The second Saturday?
The second or third Saturday.
So it's either
maybe it's the fourth. I don't know. I'm just making this all up.
Okay, so check it out.
Just let me look it up.
So I mean, check this out. If it's, and I'm pulling it up too. If it's,
I don't know why I'm here on my computer, and I'd rather just lie and say things than look it up.
Saturday night's main event. Let's see. Okay, so that's the one that Cena was on.
January 24th.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that actually leads right into what I was going to say. So,
it's a week before the Rumble, right? Because didn't we talk about that before?
Is it a week before the Rumble?
Or is it 2 weeks? No, it's a week before. It's a week before the Rumble because we talked about, I remember talking about that on a previous episode, that the stuff that's not going to make the Rumble, they could do it there.
Okay, so the Royal Rumble is on the 31st of January?
Yes. Okay. Man, I have a hard time believing Cody and Drew wouldn't be on or at the Rumble.
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, look, Cody's not going to be in it, obviously.
Oh, they are not. They are not going to Saudi without Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes.
I'm just saying. If they're having their match on Saturday night's main event the week before the Royal Rumble, first of all, Cody's not going to be in the Rumble because, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the champs.
Probably not.
So he's not going to be in the Rumble. And Drew could be in the Rumble, right? But Drew then
Drew
I
could
guess
be
he
the
wrestles at Saturday Night's Main Event the week before, and then is also on the Royal Rumble, right? I
I
mean,
mean, those are two of the biggest stars in the company. There's no way they're going to Saudi without him.
I don't know. It's possible.
Oh, I mean, it's possible,
I mean,
but
look,
it's
it's
not
possible they
probable.
could go, but they may not have a match.
Mhm.
I mean, look, Cody could
Okay,
go and make an appearance,
there
but
you
he's
go.
not going to be in the Rumble. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, unless he's going to run it right back with Drew 1 week after they just did it at Saturday Night's Main Event, he's not going to be wrestling somebody else. That would make no sense.
Yeah.
Unless of course the Cody Rhodes Drew McIntyre feud as it currently stands will have a stopping point at Saturday Night's Main Event, and they start moving in towards planning for WrestleMania season, right? Where Drew could factor into those plans, right? But then it's like, who would Cody just be randomly wrestling at the Royal Rumble when you just had Drew and him? Like, it would make more sense to hold them off until Royal Rumble,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
they could also they could do the match at the Royal Rumble. I'm just saying, they will both be in Riyadh.
Okay, so let's ponder this, right? Let's say, because I think it makes more sense to do Cody versus Drew at the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
That seems like it makes more sense than to do it on Saturday Night's Main Event. That means that Cody Rhodes, the person we've been talking about as being reckless, has being pushed to be ridiculous, right? And sometimes booked to seem a little stupid, is going to have to not put his hands on Drew McIntyre for 4 weeks, Skeener, a whole month. He can't lay a finger on Drew McIntyre. So we ain't gonna get no Cody Drew action from now until the Royal Rumble. And Cody's not just gonna wrestle random matches, so Cody ain't gonna wrestle for a month. That's wild.
Oh, I think he'll wrestle in the
He'll
meantime.
just wrestle some randos.
I think so.
Maybe it's possible. I mean, we don't often see our WWE champion just wrestling randos, but it's possible they could do that. But either way, the point was, I don't know if I believe that Cody is going to be able to not put hands on Drew for 4.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's the hook.
Listen, what would be great, in my opinion? Cody can't do it. And let's say maybe like 2 weeks before, before the Royal Rumble, Cody does what Cody does. And he's had enough. And Cody is seeing red. And he attacks Drew. And then he gets stripped of the title. And then Cody and Drew wrestle each other at the Royal Rumble for the vacated WWE Championship. If you plan on keeping it on Cody, it's the same match. You know what I'm saying? It's just you've now upped the stakes because Cody's not the champion. But technically speaking, right?
And then he could lose by DQ in that match.
But it would still be vacant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would still be vacant.
Have we seen that? Are we sure?
What's that?
Because there'd be no champion's advantage.
I mean, I don't think we've seen that. I mean, we've seen it when people wrestle for a vacated championship. You know what I'm saying? But
you can win a vacant title by disqualification, can't you?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you can. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. You're right. There'd be no champion's advantage. See, and you know what? We may have just booked this, Skeener, because it plays right into Drew's plan, right? It's literally what you were talking about with Christian and Orton.
Yeah, I do kind of like that.
You know what I mean? It's like, will you get him pissed off enough to go too far?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Listen, the match writes itself. Like, that would be, in my opinion, the best case scenario. Is to just set it up like that and then let Cody. If you do that, I will come on to this show and I will say that I think that what they were doing with Cody makes sense now. If you are writing Cody to be,
well, I think it makes sense regardless because they've got this month where he has to abide by this stipulation. I'm sure Drew's going to be needling him at every opportunity.
Oh no, I'm 1000% with you there. What I'm saying is, I will say that it makes sense how they're building Cody's character. Right? He is this pure white meat baby face, but he has got this temper about him, right? That he tries to keep under wraps, but when you violate him, right, or you push him too far, he can be reckless. He can go with reckless abandon, and it's not always to his detriment. It's not always to his benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a compelling character. I like that. That gives angles and nuance to what is a very flat archetype, which is the I'm always doing what's right. And that's what people didn't like about Cena early on in his, never give up Soldier Cena days. It was like he's totally incorruptible. He never loses his temper. And it's like it got boring after a while. This could give it some nuance because Cody is trying to be that guy, and he may not always be that guy, and that's cool. That's a nice, interesting angle and a wrinkle to an otherwise very ironed out character archetype. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was good. So
Yeah.
we'll see where we go.
Well, yeah, we'll see where we go. So, other news on SmackDown or other things have happened on SmackDown. Let's see. So we had Zelina Vega and Aleister Black with Damian Priest again.
Opening the show. Yeah, I thought it was good promo from Zelina, but I don't know. This just seems like it's not doing much for anyone and not going much of anywhere, but maybe
No,
that's just me.
it's not just you. It's not just you. And listen, this is no disrespect to Aleister Black. He's a very capable wrestler in the ring. I think he's very talented. But Damian Priest, man, to have been so high on the totem pole at one point in 2025. And now he seems like he's in what feels like, and I know it's not the case, but humory, right? It feels this way. It feels like he has been in this forever feud with Aleister Black. Like it seems like this has been going on for a very long time. And I know it hasn't. But I think that just happens when the interactions are just monotonous. It just seems like it's the same thing over and over and over again. And it just doesn't really do anything for anybody. And it's going to be one of those feuds that when it blows over or when it, you know what I'm saying, when the dust settles, no one's going to care. Like, no one's going to care. First of all, I don't see Aleister Black being elevated up the card off of this feud. Like, I genuinely don't. I love the fact that he and his wife get to do something together. I think that's probably a really cool experience to have in that profession, is to do something with your significant other like that. So that's awesome that they get to travel together, they get to do this act together. That's awesome. That could be the best thing they get from this is time spent, because I don't see this getting him over with people who are not sold on him. And in light of the fact that we are coming up on season 2 of WWE Unreal, there are forces at play in the back that have to believe in you too, right? It's not just the fans. It's not just how the fans are feeling about you in any particular moment. The people who put the show together have to also believe what the fans believe to a certain extent, right? And we saw that last season when we were looking at Jey Uso. Jey Uso had the support of the WWE universe at the time. I don't know anybody who's out there saying we want Aleister. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anybody.
Yeah, there's just not really a lot going on. They haven't given us good stakes or reason to invest. I think Alistair did hit a nice looking what was that? A Meteora from from like the apron through that table. That was
Yeah,
cool. But like, yeah, ultimately we just haven't seen, there hasn't been something, at least for me, to like hook me into this.
I agree.
Still waiting for her to bring that white snake on shows. But, I don't think we're getting that, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so either. And honestly, that would probably be something that would give this bit a short-term
Mhm.
shot in the arm,
I'm
because
telling you.
this ain't.
Said it since I first saw it. You got to bring the white snake out on TV.
Yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it. And listen, kids. I hear you already. Okay, like let's not go anywhere with the euphemisms. Okay, all right. She's not bringing out the white snake on television, and she's also not bringing the white snake out on television. So like, let's just cross both of those off right now. I don't think they're going to bring an anaconda on to television. And to be honest,
Why not? It was in the promo. It's someone has it somewhere. They can get it. They
I
can book the white anaconda.
I get it, but they ain't done it yet. And I don't foresee it happening. And honestly, it will be a short-term thing that would be kind of cool to see. But I wonder if she's even like a snake person.
Who knows?
You know what I'm saying? Like, look, Jake Roberts was a snake guy. You know what I'm saying? He was a snake guy, so it will make sense because the snake is out there. He ain't got to worry about anybody else trying to handle that snake except for him. But if she's not a snake person, and that's a big snake, you know what I mean? So if he's not a snake person and they did it because it looked cool for a video, I mean, that's cool, but just leave it backstage. That's a liability you'll need to deal with. And it's only for a short term gain, too. Like, that would work for the end of this feud, and then nobody would care. I'm sorry. I love Zelina Vega. I think she's awesome. But I wish that this would work, and it just doesn't. Like, to me, this feels as pointless as freaking MFTs and the Wyatts. Like, it just
What are we missing? Because the crowd was into that match.
dude, you know what I think it is, man? I think, and I'm looking over this card, right? MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. Then you've got Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes versus DIY. You've got Julia versus Alba Fire, right? You've got this Nia Jax and Lash Legend versus the Kabuki Warriors, right? All of this stuff makes for a really great live show experience. All of this stuff would be great matches to watch live. When I remember when I went to SmackDown years ago, right? Randy Orton was the biggest star that was there that night. The rest of the show had matches that were similar to this. I had a great time. I was into it because I was there for the wrestling show. You know what I mean? And I would never be, and I never was, one of those fans that was like, boo, this sucks. Aleister Black, you suck. I would have never said that. I would have been right there at the ring, enjoying the match. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a great live show match. But I think that's it. Like, they're missing something that makes these live matches translate to be as electric as they appear to be when the audience is watching it, when it's right there. Like, I'm just looking at this picture of Aleister doing his Meteora onto Damian Priest. And in this picture, at ringside, there's a guy who looks like he's standing here with his wife and he's got his little son here. I can't imagine that his son is watching this match and thinking, Aleister Black's my favorite wrestler.
Maybe.
I just don't see it.
Probably not, but like,
you know, there's not a lot here. And we talked about some of these other people in some of these matches too, right? They just have not done a really good job of managing some of these talented people in order to get them over. Maybe SmackDown in 3 hours can lend some more time to some things. I would love to see that extra hour be utilized more for storytelling aspects than squeezing in more matches. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you're going to do. And maybe you can flesh some people out, because there's some people on this card who we talked about that like could really use more. Ilya Dragunov. We need more than just the U.S. title. And this wasn't even like a open challenge. This is a tag match, right? But as it currently,
they at least did something different.
They did.
Granted, it's nothing I don't think we care about that much, but
they did. And I wonder, I don't even know where this goes, right? Like, I don't know where this goes because Ilya Dragunov teamed with Carmelo Hayes, who at one point challenged for the United States Championship in the Open Challenge, versus DIY, who both of them now have challenged Ilya for the United States Championship. All three have failed. Unless we are going into some sort of program that is going to end with Carmelo Hayes taking that U.S. Championship off of Ilya Dragunov, I don't see how this serves anyone, particularly if the U.S. Open Challenge is still on the table. Like, if this was a soft removal of the Open Challenge, I will rubber stamp my approval. But if we're going to go back to it, this is just a match. And I get it. Sometimes you just put matches on. That's not me saying that I don't get that, people, that we don't just put matches on sometimes. I understand that. But this is par for the course for SmackDown. Just to have matches sometimes. that don't really mean anything. If there's a story that's being had here between Ilya and Carmelo and DIY, I would love to know what it is because I kind of have some beats of a story between Ilya and particularly Tommaso Ciampa, but not particularly with Johnny Gargano. And Carmelo and Ilya have crossed paths, but I mean, they're not a thing. They don't really have a thing going on. And Carmelo has just been done dirty this year, in my opinion. Like,
It seems like they're trying to do something with him now.
they
That's
are.
what this seemed like, at least to me.
They are. And this is why, and that's why I said what I said at the top of this, right? If this results in maybe you go through with concluding this Ilya Dragunov beef with Tommaso Ciampa, right? And that essentially removes DIY from the equation. And then you have Dragunov not in the open challenge thing, but wants to have a match against Carmelo because he feels like Carmelo is deserving, right? If this ends with Carmelo Hayes beating Ilya Dragunov for the US championship, this will have worked out. I think Carmelo could actually do something with the United States Championship that would matter. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you already have a story that you can return to. And I know some people are not going to want to return to this, but you've got a story built in with The Miz already. And if he wins that championship, right, all it's going to take is a run-in between him and The Miz backstage, right? And you've got all that history there with Melo Dome Miz and Melo wanting to go after the championship and The Miz undercutting him, their tag team, and then the breakup. And then you can return to this. And because Miz is the vet, let Miz fall to Carmelo and really cement Carmelo as now I've cut all the strings, right? And now let Carmelo go. Drop the open challenge and start building him into a storyline where he's the U.S. champion and bring up, listen, put him against Javon Evans. That boy bouncy. And I just watched the triple threat match that he had with Obafemi and Trick Williams. I believe that was the match that that Oba wrestled before he wrestled Cody at Saturday Night's Main Event, if I'm not mistaken. Dude, all three of those guys are ready for the main event. They're ready for the main event. And Javon Evans is already on the show, and Javon Evans has more personality and more fan backing behind him than almost all of the people who we have talked about on SmackDown thus far. That's Damian Priest, that's Aleister Black, that's both members of DIY, and Ilya Dragunov himself. And honestly, even Carmelo Hayes right now. But if you're building up Carmelo again, put the U.S. title on Carmelo and then put Carmelo in a program against Javon Evans and let those two go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I think you could take the U.S. championship to another level if you made it more about the personalities that are involved and less about the U.S. Open Challenge and the title itself. The title would then mean something because you make it mean something. But I don't know, man. Your thoughts on any of the stuff that I just said right there with regards to the U.S. championship, its trajectory, what the superstar situation looks like surrounding the title, and where we could possibly go with it.
I don't have any thoughts on this. Like, wait, am I supposed to? Like, come on. It's a throwaway match with Ilya and Carmelo and DIY. Like, they worked hard. It was a good match. They did good moves. There's nothing much to say until they give me something to say about it.
I mean, look, that's true. Listen, I hear you. I mean, and that's the problem with SmackDown, right? Is it's rife with stuff like that.
I mean, you said a lot of stuff that would be really good, but they haven't done any of that stuff. I'm not sure they're gonna do any of that stuff. So,
no, yeah. I mean, it's easy. It's easy sometimes for me to postulate because they left the door so wide open. The slate is so blank. I can literally write anything I want on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, why not play with the numbers a bit and see if it can make sense? It would be nice if somebody listened to this podcast who works for WWE. Listen, take the idea as your own, man. I don't care. Like, just do it. And, just do it and make something make sense because the U.S. Championship scene needs some help on all levels, right? The US championship scene, like up for the women is like what happened? Like I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
Where is our US champion? Like she's not even on the
Mexico.
oh, is she in
I
Mexico?
mean,
She's still wrestling. She's still
maybe.
doing her
I don't
AAA
know.
stuff. Like
I
maybe.
mean, she is a champion. I don't know if that's actually where she is, but
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Just, I Alba Fire is wrestling Julia.
Julia.
Like I've talked about this to death just with Julia. I watched a piece on her. When was this? It might have been earlier this week, Skeeter. And I watched this piece on her on YouTube, and the author of this piece was breaking down who Julia was in Stardom, the hype she had when she, started appearing in the crowd at NXT, at the WWE shows, and how she came in right around the same time Stephanie Vaquer did. And just how the trajectory between the two of those superstars have diverged so starkly. And he made me kind of understand, in a sense, why some people don't get Julia. Does it change my mind fully? No, because I still don't get her. I still don't get what the appeal is. I think she's a great professional wrestler. And some of the stuff that I saw in that program or that little piece that I watched uh, highlighted some of the stuff that she did in Stardom. And listen, it was cool. It was cool. But it looked like a lot of the stuff that she does here. I get that she's like a great professional wrestler, but I just don't see what the appeal is here with her. And maybe they rushed her a little bit. One of the things they talked about in that piece was you can't put her with somebody like Kiana James and then make Kiana James also look like a scrub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she looks like a scrub, and it doesn't really help her in any meaningful way. And one of the things that he was talking about was at some point when you don't see the needle moving with her at all, does it make you sometimes question the hype? You know what I mean? Like does it sometimes feel like it's maybe a botched experiment? I mean, obviously you should keep her around, but one of the things he was also talking about was WWE's track record with like poaching people so that the competition can't get them. And apparently she was in talks with AEW to go that route because I think somebody who she either used to work with or used to manage her in some way when she was in Stardom is either affiliated with AEW or is on good terms with Tony Khan. And so I think there was an inclination to go that way. And I don't know if there was some falling out between this person and Tony Khan, but she ended up going in the opposite direction. And not to say that she would have been utilized any better over there, but WWE does have a track record sometimes of grabbing people to keep them away from the competition. And if she's got such a big name coming in, like you hot shot her and you put titles on her very quickly, and you have not given the WWE audience a chance to become acclimated to her and to figure out who she is and build a character around her. And she just comes across as another wrestler on the roster. And I don't know. I think it shows when you have such a lackluster group of people who are competing for the title, when you're wrestling against the same people over and over again. And you've got to put your WWE Women's Champion in the mix with the United States scene just because, I don't know, do you not have enough bodies? Like, why do we need to go 3 hours if you don't have enough bodies to keep the rotation fresh?
Yeah, that's what's gonna be interesting about the 3 hours.
Yeah. Like I said, man, it's like, look, utilize that third hour for more storytelling stuff. You know what I mean? Like, really, do you lean into that? Raw does it well. I wonder why the two shows don't have the same type of feel to them. You know what I
I,
mean?
I don't know. It's always like one always has to be the clear B show when yeah, which I guess probably I mean they're always going to be compared. One probably always does need to take a back seat, but it's very clearly SmackDown.
Yeah.
hopefully when we do, we can get a little more with, I don't know necessarily more. I don't know what the answer here. I'm gonna jump to Jade, but I mean, we said weeks ago she can't just, defend the title against Michin for weeks, right? Nope, that's what we're doing.
That's
So
exactly what we're
that's
doing.
all that's all I'll say there.
That's
But
exactly what we're doing.
when Jade's on the screen and Jade does stuff and Jade talks, that's good and I care. But like, she should have beat Michin in 20 seconds one week, and then we move on from that. But nope, we're still here.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, and yes, we are still here. And I think part of that problem is you don't have anybody else at the top of the card.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
There's only
Charlotte is still
two.
with Alexa Bliss. Nia Jax and Lash Legend are a tag team, right? Though that right there, if you look at the women who appeared on SmackDown, right? Those
Yeah,
are your
all the top talent was in the tag team segment.
are in the tag team segment, right? So that leaves the singles competition significantly gutted. It leaves the singles competition significantly gutted. And so you've got these women who have to interact with each other. And listen, love me some Jade, but Jade is still developing. She's still figuring it out. And do I think that this stuff with her and Michin, can it be fun?
No,
Maybe.
no, don't even say that. It can't.
Listen, if they had a hardcore match, you don't think a hardcore match between her and Michin would be fun to watch?
I mean, I'm sure it would be okay.
That's my point. It would be fun to watch, but also, we already know ain't no way on God's green earth that WWE is going to book Michin to go over Jade in any way. So it begs the question of like, despite the fact that we know the roster is short, what are we doing?
All right.
Like,
Again, what are we doing?
what are we doing?
I feel like there's way too many things on SmackDown where we just say, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, it just a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. And SmackDown is just not in a good way. And it's weird to say when I'm scrolling through this and I'm looking at these segments, I'm like, Cody was on the show, Drew was on the show, Charlotte was on
But
the
that's
show.
like the only point we talked about. The women's tag segment was good. It just seemed like it didn't really develop much. I think Nia and Lash, still really like as a team. I thought their backstage interview was funny. I always like Nia in that setting. I think she's really found her groove with this character, and Lash is good and she's getting better, and I really like that pairing.
Yeah.
And I thought that match was good. Nia and Lash against the Kabuki Warriors. I was kind of surprised they just beat them pretty. I mean, obviously there was some outside stuff, but I would say they beat them clean. And
Yeah.
then Charlotte and Alexa come in and remind us that they're there. But the tag team scene is good. At
Yeah.
least we have some power players there.
Agreed. I mean, I feel like this has got to lead to a fatal four way.
Yeah, the Fatal 4-Way tag match,
You know what I mean?
I
Like
would think.
it's got to lead there. This is what so the Kabuki Warriors going between both shows is really if there's anything to take away from this, if I could make a big point here, WWE, we just need to drop some of these titles or make your champions be able to go anywhere. The Kabuki Warriors being on both SmackDown and Raw do so much more to expose the Kabuki Warriors to a larger audience, have them interact with both these sets of tag teams that you're going to have in this fatal four way because Rhea and Io are on Raw. But you just had the Kabuki Warriors over there, and now you've got the Kabuki Warriors on SmackDown. Why can't we do this with the other champions? You know what I'm saying? Like, just have them move around. You could get so much more mileage, out of this if you just let your champions move a little bit. But, you got too many belts and too many champions. And because you got that right now, like, you have to keep them landlocked. And, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships just really get the benefit from only having one set so that they can move around. Because, like, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee are the tag champs, right? Do we only have one set for the men now?
No, there's two because
Oh, oh, that's right.
The Wyatts and
I
Solo.
forget those
And,
jokers
and
are.
and before we move on, I think the best part of this is Solo doing the stuff where he's like, I'm not going to play this game. You're Bo Dallas. You're Bo Dallas. Like, you're not Uncle Howdy.
So he
And I
did it.
like
So he
that.
did it
I
again
like the
this week.
he did like he was kind of mocking him. He was he referenced the I've got the whole world in my hands stuff.
Got you.
And I think that's the best part of this. I was surprised they did kind of a non-finish here, so I mean, I guess they're going to go again at some point, but I like what the MFTs are doing. I don't think this has done anything else for the Wyatt 6 and maybe I'm missing something, but it still is not hitting for me.
No, dude.
It's interesting like when it just doesn't do it for me when we have a promo, and we've had promos before where Solo is like, "What are you doing? You all are cosplaying. Like, I know you're normal people. You're not these spooky supernatural people."
Yeah.
And then they continue to do the spooky supernatural stuff, which can work, but it doesn't necessarily work for them when someone else is making a joke out of it. Like,
Right. Right.
if their opponent is making a joke out of it and you're not, doing anything to get kind of that steam back, it just falls a little flat for me.
No, I get it, dude. Look, you're removing the kayfabe element of it, right? You're removing the kayfabe element of it. There's always the reality that we have to suspend as the viewers, right, to buy into this spooky wookie stuff, and that's why it's hit or miss, right? On any given Monday, Friday, or Saturday, it's hit or miss when it comes to spooky wookie because the fans have to buy into it. They have to want to be a part of it, and they have to willingly give up their understanding that this is not real spooky wookie crap. But when you're blowing it up in kayfabe, it adds another level of disinterest in me. And not that disinterest in necessarily what the MFTs are doing, but just it makes me less interested in the Wyatt 6 on top of the fact that they're not that interesting to begin with. Like, they're not that
But
interesting to begin
again,
with.
I'll say, like, the crowd was loving it. So, like, I wonder what I'm missing here. Or is it just what we said and they like to, when you're there, you like to hear the Bray Wyatt music played and see the tribute entrance and that stuff.
I think it's the
But if
participation.
any, yeah, if anyone want, if we got any listeners out there that want to tell me what I'm missing, please let us know here.
Please, please, if I'm off base in the fact that it's the participation element that people buy into when they're at these live shows, and it allows them to overlook some of this stuff that we who are watching the product in its totality as it's presented on television are just missing, let me know. I would love to know if I'm off base about something, right? But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I am. And that's not me trying to be arrogant. It's just looking at the situation as it is. We've been to live shows before, right? I can get into stuff that normally I would not get into if I'm watching it on television because I'm at the live show. I'm enjoying this with other people. You know what I'm saying? The energy from the show, and wrestling in and of itself is fun. If you're a wrestling fan, you enjoy watching wrestling. You enjoy playing your part as a fan. Some people love that too much. We've been talking about that, how people go to these shows and they just feel like it's time to make their voices heard and they want to yell and say whatever they want to say. All that stuff takes over when you go to these shows because I don't think the same people who are saying the what chants, right, when Nick Aldis is talking to Cody, are saying what to their television screen when they're at home. You know what I mean? Like
Probably not.
I don't think they're doing that. But you get into these live shows and you get pulled into the zeitgeist and then you start doing it because it's fun. It's part of the live energy. I think that's what people buy into. And so you can put on these matches and listen, on their face, like I said earlier, these are great matches to watch. Ilya Dragunov is a great professional wrestler. Carmelo Hayes is a great professional wrestler. DIY are a great tag team. I have no doubt that the match was stellar to watch. Like, you know what I'm saying? From a technical standpoint, it was probably an incredible match to watch and watch live, straight up. Storytelling wise, it's not great. You know what I'm saying? It's not great. But it reminds me of when house shows were more prevalent. You could go to a house show and just watch great matches. They weren't tied to any ongoing stories. The only story you got was a story they told from the starting bell to the ending bell. The story they told in the ring, right? And as long as you are in that mindset, and you're not looking for these matches to tie into what you saw on Raw last week, you're good to go. You'll enjoy the match. It'll be great. Sometimes SmackDown feels like a really, really, really high produced house show. And it shouldn't feel that way. It should not feel that way. I think that's what the fans are feeling. Because I feel like if I was in a situation, I would be telling you, yo, I was there. It was awesome, man. These matches were great. But it don't translate when we're watching the show because it's about the entirety of that product, including the stories, including the what commentary adds to the depth of storylines and the depth of characters. And when there ain't none of that there, you get Aleister Black and Damian Priest again. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. But jumping ship here, Raw, on the other hand, good as it always is. And mind you, pay attention, folks. Pay attention. The things that we discussed that are awesome about what's happening on Raw are the exact things that are missing from SmackDown. Case and point. Becky Lynch reemerges on Raw to claim that she was cheated out of her Women's Intercontinental Championship. Maxine Dupree comes into the ring and they get into it. I believe Becky takes a cheap shot on Maxine, knocks her down, and then she starts wailing on her. And then Maxine busts out her natty training, right? She busts out her natty training and she cinches in an ankle lock on Becky and she makes Becky tap out in front of the crowd. It symbolizes so much of what we were talking about last week with Maxine, right? No, she didn't look like she was this stellar force in the ring now, but you know what she was? She was capable. She was capable of standing up to Becky without the interference around, right? And barefoot puts in an ankle lock, takes Becky's shoe off, throws it into the crowd, right? And it was great. A great segment that had so little to do with the wrestling and everything to do with the story that they've been telling between these two women. That's why it works. That's why it works. And that is just missing from SmackDown. But, thank God we have Raw each week because wrestling would be hard to watch sometimes if we were basing it off of what we get on SmackDown each Friday. Yeah, so Monday Night Raw starts with the Kabuki Warriors and what was happening here? Oh, it was Asuka versus Rhea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we opened with Asuka versus Rhea.
Asuka versus Rhea.
We actually opened with Rhea backstage with Io.
Yes.
Since we're doing the because Io sacrificed herself to save Rhea last week or week before
from the Kyrie Sane elbow.
Yes, and now Rhea had to go out there and take on Asuka all by herself.
Yep. So we're getting this match. Obviously, great match between Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Anytime they get in the ring together, it is freaking magic. But they have a great match. Kyrie continues to get involved over and over in the match. And our friend Io just can't sit back and watch this happen. So Io comes out there nursing a hurt back from an elbow drop that she's probably taken a bajillion times before, but this time it injured her. And, she's not medically cleared to come out here. But, she comes out here and she's trying to get, she's trying to stop Kyrie from continuing to interfere. And she's up on the apron talking to the referee. And Kyrie sweeps her legs out from underneath her. She lands back first on the apron, which obviously is the hardest part of the ring. And she is
and
now,
her back already had some KT tape on it.
Yeah. That Kinesio tape. So we're letting you know that her back is hurt. And she lands flat on her back, and now she's in a ton of pain. And Rhea, in her concern for Io, gets a quick roll-up applied to her by Asuka, who also grabs the tights and gets the victory over Rhea Ripley. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to add in. I don't know what this adds to their story. And I'm curious to see if this does anything between Rhea and Io. I doubt it, particularly because they're going to be part of this fatal four way for the women's tag team championship. But I think it does a lot more to kind of deepen this idea that they are really friends now and that they're sacrificing for each other. But you know, I mean, listen, goes without saying, but Rhea is a freaking star, dude. Every time she comes out to the ring, I am just impressed with how many times the roof blows off of every place she's in whenever her music
Hmm.
hits. Like, it's just crazy to think how popular she is. I would venture to say that Rhea's popularity is second only currently to Cody, maybe Roman.
Yeah, I'd put her behind Roman and CM Punk and Cody. You could, I mean, we could. I think she's behind those three. Obviously, we're not taking into account Seth because he's hurt.
Right.
I think she's on the level with like Jay and Becky and there, which is kind of like it's a great place to be. I mean, I'm not.
Sure.
That's not a shot. But she's right. Like, I mean, I would not begrudge you moving her up to that top tier.
No, I hear you. Like, I think if I would put Rhea, I would put Rhea behind Roman. And I feel like because they keep Roman off TV so much, when he comes back on television, his pops are big because people ain't seen him in a while. So I think that's a bit of an unfair advantage that he's got there, but it's there nonetheless. I
I
definitely
think the
think
only act like I mean, when I say active, I don't mean full time, but the
sure.
only like active roster members I'd definitively put her behind would be Punk and Roman. Anyone else I would accept arguments for.
Yeah, I think I would be hard pressed to disagree with you there. I think if anyone that I would potentially contest, it would be Punk. And not that I think she wouldn't be that she'd be like above Punk. I think she'd be on par with Punk. I think Punk gets those eruptions, but when This Is My Brutality hits, that place explodes too. And in a way that I think Jay is up there, but I also think, and this is not a knock to Jay, I also think that Jay's entrance is as big of a star as he is. And I think that for Rhea, for people like Punk, they are the star, not their entrance. And so that's why, like, I would put her above Jay, not simply because the crowd noise, because everybody wants to stand up and they want to yeet and you know what I'm saying, all of these things. But I would also venture to say that, like, if somebody were beefing with Jay, and let's say they wanted to do one of them fake outs on the fans, and they're talking a bunch of trash, and then Jay's music hits, right? When the beat drops on that, I guarantee you, most of the people in the crowd are already going to be standing up yeeting before Jay shows up. And then at some point they'll be like, "Oh, where's Jay? He's not here." And then everybody's going to boo, right? But they're already doing his entrance before he shows up. The entrance is as much of a star as he is, right? But it's different with Punk and with Rhea, and certainly with Roman. But yeah, dude, Rhea's just freaking star, dude. Rhea's a star. I loved the segment with your girl, Nikki Bella.
Yeah, heck of a promo by her.
I mean,
I
she
thought
came
at
in right
least.
after the Javon Evans match ended. Like,
Yeah, she came in kind of out of nowhere. They gave her the quote unquote unscheduled time.
yes, it just works, dude. It just works. Like, I'm I agree with you 1000%. You said this a few weeks ago that you felt like the Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella feud did not need to end because it was working out very well. I agree with you now more than I ever have because Nikki Bella is doing an incredible job and she's so much better as a heel.
Yeah, she is.
She is so much better as a heel, man. Like, and she's tapping into this space that you don't get to tap into until you are a legend. And now she's there and she's a Hall of Famer. And she can come out here and talk her talk about how, like, I made this division and, like, it works so well. And she delivers this very, very well. And Raquel is playing her part. And the only person who's not really here is the champ. Honestly, Skeeter, I like Stephanie Vaquer. I don't know how much I like this though. Not this whole feud and not Stephanie herself, but the fact that like she's not around as much as I feel like she should be. I feel like
I
Raquel.
mean, she was what? She was just she was backstage this week, right?
Yeah,
She wanted to defend. She requested the triple threat.
yes, she requested the triple threat. But I mean, show your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I
show,
think some of this was it being a taped show.
this is true. This is
So,
true. This is true. But we've been getting this often with Stephanie. And I know why. I know why. But it still sucks that I think it has to happen. I like to see my champions. And maybe I got spoiled with Roman, but like when Roman was the champ, particularly when he was like double champ, right? And the bloodline stuff was going on, you saw Roman all the time. You know what I mean? You saw Roman all the time. And when Becky was a champ, you saw Becky all the time. Even when she wasn't wrestling, you saw her all the time. And part of the reason is because these folks are talkers, right? They can carry their own weight in these segments. Stephanie is not in the place where she can do that to the same degree as a Nikki Bella, to the same degree as a Raquel Rodriguez can. And so you lean on Nikki and you lean on Raquel to do the segments, and then you allow Stephanie to just be the champion. I think as long as Stephanie Vaquer continues to be the phenomenal pro wrestler she is, and her English continues to get better, I think that she is going to have a spot at the top of the card because she is vastly capable at what she does. I think that you're going to always have to have her in a feud with somebody who is going to be able to carry the heavy load of the talking until she's able to get there. Because I cannot imagine if we had ended up getting Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffany Stratton, or like Stephanie Vaquer. If Stephanie wasn't the champion and you got Stephanie Vaquer versus a champion Jade Cargill, Jade having to carry that, I don't know about that. But Nikki is freaking killing it right now. And Raquel, does she have a, so when is their championship match? Is that a triple threat?
yes. I think, see, that one, I don't remember if that's next week or if we're doing that on I guess they're calling it the anniversary show.
Oh, the big
Yeah.
Netflix show at the start of the year. Yeah, I guess they seem to be turning that into
Yeah,
a
they were
thing.
loading that one up.
It makes sense. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. And listen, they don't even have to give it like a name. At first, I was gonna be like, yeah, you should make this into an event. But no, I get it. If you want to do it on Netflix, it's the first Netflix show of the year, and then first Netflix show of every year is a big show. Yeah, okay. If they do it on the first Netflix show of the year, Stephanie versus Raquel versus Nikki Bella, like Stephanie's retaining this title, right?
I assume so.
I guess that's what I would think. That's what I would think. But I mean, it's anybody's guess. I would love to see, surprisingly, I would love to see Nikki Bella win that title at some point.
I think it would be fun. I
I
think you could before Stephanie gets it back. I think that would be an interesting detour in the road.
For sure, for sure. And listen, until we get some developments with Roxanne and Raquel and Liv and what's going on with the three of them, because we didn't get any type of continuation of what's going on with that storyline this week. I mean, the Judgment Day
We
was a
did
little
though.
quiet. What did we
No,
get?
no, 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 no. We did. They were beefing. Do you not remember?
Maybe I don't.
So we had Bailey versus Roxanne Perez.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and Liv and Raquel get into it at ringside, and that causes Roxanne to lose. And then they're arguing in the back.
Oh yeah. Well, because it
And
was
Raquel
complicated.
ended up and Raquel ended up walking out, which
You're right.
I tried to clue you in last week. They are going somewhere with this, and it's Raquel coming out as the baby face.
I could see that. I could see that. I mean, look, that was you. I'm glad you reminded me. Thank you, because that was more complicated and more nuanced than we just explained. Because
Oh, yeah.
Liv was out there with Roxanne, and Liv had ran interference perfect, and Roxanne had that middle turnbuckle off, and then Liv hopped down, and so Roxanne could take advantage, and then Raquel jumped on the apron
Hmm.
and took the ref's attention again, and Roxanne couldn't, get the pin or capitalize or something. And then Liv's trying to tell Raquel to get off the apron, and she ends up pulling Raquel off the apron. And then Raquel and Liv start going at it. Roxanne is her attention is taken away because of what's there going on, because she wasn't able to capitalize on their cheating. And then at some point, Lyra slaps the hell out of Bailey to wake her up.
Yeah, that's what our once promising gimmick has devolved into.
You know what? I'm just glad they're still doing it. Like maybe low bar, but at one point I was like, okay, they've just
I mean, you're
decided to
right.
totally
They
step
didn't
away from
completely
this.
forget about it.
I thought they were just like, oh, I guess we're not doing that anymore. But listen, if Lyra's out there and Bailey, if this is Bailey's Ultimate Warrior moment, where it's like, she's trying to find the will to go on, and Lyra slaps her and pisses her off, and then the other Bailey comes out, and then she goes on this. Look, the crowd was behind it. The crowd was into it. And, it got her to W, but no, you're absolutely right. There was a lot that happened here. There was a lot that
Yeah,
happened.
we definitely got some movement in the Judgment Day, because they came backstage and Finn and Dom were just trying to play some PS5, and their silence was interrupted.
So you think Raquel comes out of this as a babyface?
I think that's where we're headed.
Okay. So does it end up being, in your opinion, do you think that it ends up being Raquel coming out as a babyface because she and Liv have beef, or does Liv turn the Judgment Day on her? Or
Yeah.
How does
Yeah.
how so you think that she ends up turning the Judgment Day on Raquel?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Interesting. I know you said that last week, and I thought about it then, and I'm thinking more about it now. And I was just thinking about, when I was thinking about last week, I was like, that would be cool.
I think Raquel's starting to get a little more traction with the crowd, and she's really starting to get over, and I think they're going to pull the trigger on this.
Well, I could not be more down for that. Like, I genuinely, I said this earlier this year, that I feel like Raquel has come so freaking far. And, she's just improved a lot in the ring. She's found this confidence in what she's doing now. And the crowd is responding to it. And yeah, listen, they can use more women at that top spot too. So, Raquel, listen, if they end up putting a title on Raquel in 2026, I will not be surprised, because,
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Absolutely. And then that will just leave the Judgment Day with Liv and Roxanne and the boys. But I think Roxanne is, in my opinion, I think Roxanne is short for the Judgment Day too. Like, she's staying long enough to continue to kind of get, over. And she does still need a Judgment Day rub of her own, like everyone else has pretty much got. But how much longer does the Judgment Day go? You know what I mean? Because I think Dom at some point is going to move away from that IC title too. And he's got to move into a bigger picture as well. And so I don't think you have a Judgment Day without Dom, without Liv, and without Raquel at this point. And I think if
Without
Raquel
none
goes,
of these people that started the faction.
yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. It's just funny that's how it goes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It started with Edge and Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley, right?
Yeah.
Finn wasn't even
it wasn't
in
even
first.
Finn. It was just Rhea and Damian.
It was Edge,
and
Damian. It was Edge and Damian, and Rhea was the big reveal at first.
Yep, was the big reveal, right? So it's like none of those people are here, right? So you're left with this. You're left with the remnants of the second gen of of the Judgment Day, and that's mainly Finn and Dom, primarily, and then everybody else has kind of come on after that, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if Raquel goes, right, I think what's going to have to then happen is the Judgment Day is going to have to be put on to Liv's true colors, right? And then you have some sort of situation where people are determining whether or not they're cool with Liv. I don't know. You're going to bring Dom into that somehow. We never resolved Finn and Dom, right? But if Dom leaves and Raquel is gone, then you're left with Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez, right? Like, essentially, you've still got Finn there, but I don't know. Finn ain't got a whole lot he's doing right now besides the Judgment Day. So, it will probably hang around as long as Finn wants it to. But I think in 2026, Dom is probably moving off on his own. And if Raquel is going to be branched off as a baby face too, Dom is out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to be on his way to something bigger than the Judgment Day. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Right now, the Judgment Day is still, in my opinion, the best place for people to be because it's safe and they always have good stories going on, and they're always generally self-contained. So you can do these other stories with these other people like Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, you know what I mean? And all these things, but they don't really play the primary role in propelling what's going on with the Judgment Day. They are the matches that are happening outside of the Judgment Day's internal story. Whenever you have an internal story like that that's got its own legs, you're insulated. That's why it was a great place to bring Raquel. It was a great place to bring Roxanne. It was a great place to bring Dom. You know what I mean? It's a great place for them to develop and build. And honestly, that was kind of Edge's vision when he first put that faction together. It was a place for talent who could use the rub to kind of go. So they still got the best thing going, in my opinion. So as long as they want to keep it up, I'm down. As long as the stories stay good. But yeah, we then have a gloating Gunther who is still on his I made John Cena tap out like a little bitch world tour. And he comes out here and he's gloating some more. And this is cut short by CM Punk, who has had about enough of hearing Gunther continue to gloat. And so they have a pretty tense stare off before Gunther then also laughs in his face. And then he do the "you can't see me" thing when he's going out the ring.
He did. He's making that his thing, which I kind of enjoy.
Oh, Gunther is doing so much better with this than I even imagined.
This is exactly what he needed to do if he was going to tap out John Cena.
Yes. He needs to make it painfully obvious that he's done this everywhere he goes. And you know what I mean? And just rub everyone the wrong way. And yeah, it's perfect. And to be fair, this is in retrospect. And we don't know what an LA Knight could have done with this. But it's hard to imagine, because LA Knight being a face, that it would be more interesting than this. You know what I mean? Like, him having this heel dynamic and beating such a beloved figure as John Cena into his retirement, like, you could not bounce this with LA Knight. Not the same way. It'd be different. And we have no idea what that different would look like. But this, oh my gosh, just the stare down that he also had with Ray in the you know what I'm saying, when in the aisle when Ray was coming out and Gunther was walking back. Just this level of disdain that all of the old heads have for Cena, and him just rubbing every one of them the wrong way. It's perfect. It's picture perfect.
And then again, we get AJ Styles.
Yes.
So
yes.
That is going to happen, seemingly.
I swear, dude, my nephew, what was my nephew? It might have been something. I bet my nephew. But he was talking to me about this over the break. And he was asking me if I thought, no, it's my brother. He asked me if I thought that Gunther was going to retire AJ too. I think he might.
Yeah, they seem to be leaning into this.
Yeah, I think he might. And then he would have Goldberg, Cena, and AJ Styles. I mean, this is where wrestlers go to die. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, like Gunther is he will be building this legacy of breaking your favorite wrestlers into retirement. And it's a great place for him to be. And the person who then knocks him off his perch is going to be made if they play their cards right. But yeah, no, we had the interaction with AJ. I'm assuming I would think we would get Punk versus Gunther before we get AJ versus Gunther. Because that stare off that they had in the ring makes me feel like at some point Punk and Gunther are going to butt heads. And
I kind of like that Gunther just seemingly isn't. He's not like using this aspirationally at all yet. Like he's just gonna gloat for a
yeah,
while. Like he's not coming out like I beat Cena, I need a title shot. No, he's
right.
just gonna come out and be an asshole for a while, which
Oh
I
yeah.
kind of enjoy.
Oh yeah. Look, I enjoy it too. I enjoy it too. And listen, smart booking, keep Gunther out of the ring for a little while. You can keep him doing this for a little while, right? Keep his name in everybody's mouth and keep what he's done fresh, but you ain't got to put him right back in the ring. You know what I mean? It's like when he gets back in the ring next time, there should be enough breath between his retirement match with Cena and the next match he wrestles where even the people who want to boo him are anxious to see what he's about to do next.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let it breathe a little bit and let him continue to rub all of these people the wrong way, right? And give us little inklings of what could be coming down the pipe, right? Because now we're already speculating on, okay, it seems like he's going to go heads up with AJ. He's probably going to go heads up with Punk at some point. You know what I mean? Now, whether Punk will be the world heavyweight champion when that happens, that's anybody's guess. Because I have a feeling that Punk ain't gonna hold on to that title. Will he get it back? Maybe. It's possible. But I'm not sure, Skeeter, if I believe that Punk is going to beat Braun Breaker at the first Raw of 2026.
Um, I don't know. We got a week for me to feel it out. I think it's a toss up, which is a good spot for it to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Braun do it, but I'm not necessarily expecting it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not expecting it. I think I'm just saying that I am not sure if I'm expecting Punk to walk out as the champion. It just feels like everything you're doing with the Vision right now seems like they are continually and steadily building up momentum towards something. Austin Theory makes his in-ring debut with the Vision. And his look can only be described as very padded pants that look a bit militaristic.
I saw people hating on this all over online, but
Yeah.
it didn't strike me that much that it apparently did with some people, but
What were they saying?
they just hated it. And they're like, WWE needs to get someone else to put these looks together. I'm like, I thought it was fine. I mean, it was pretty plain right now, but that's kind of what you expect when someone comes in as the masked man reveal, right? Like,
Yeah.
was he gonna come out there in like all pink and stuff? Like, I don't know what people expected.
You know, I'll be fair. I am not entirely sure what I expected. I'm glad that he is no longer in the shorts. Not because I didn't think the shorts worked, but you need to cement your change with a new look. This is definitely a new look for Austin Theory. Between the haircut, between the costume, his getup, it's a new look for him. I guess I'm one of the people who saw this and I was like, it's a look. It's a look. It's not bad. And listen, granted, there were some connections that my creative brain was making when I'm watching the match, right? I'm seeing Austin Theory move. He's got the buzz cut, right? He's cut out a lot of the pandering theatrics of his move set while still keeping the physical aspects of his moveset. I've always admired his what is it, like his rolling thunder drop kick that he does. You know what I'm talking about? Like he
Yeah.
dives into the
Yeah.
ring, and
Okay. Yeah.
it's so impressive, and it's always been impressive. But it was something about this almost militaristic look that he has now with the way that he's moving around the ring. And at one point I remember thinking, I said, this dude looks like a little ring assassin. Like he's just moving around the ring in a way that is just is very precise, and he's doing things that the rest of the people in the ring just cannot do. And lean into that. You know what I mean? Like he's always had it there. Lean into it. And if what you're trying to convey with this look is somebody who is precise, you know what I'm saying? He's tactical in his approach now as opposed to what he used to be. Okay, I can work with it. I will say this, it was interesting to me seeing him in this getup, and I swear the first thing I thought was this looks like a combination of Seth Rollins' black and gray ring gear if it was a Shield outfit. Like it made me
Yeah.
feel
Well,
like he was part of the Shield.
to me, what he wore matched up with what he said earlier in the night, which
With
is that, well, first we get to reveal that Paul Heyman was telling the truth. He seemingly did not know who was under the mask. He did not know this was
this is yeah,
Austin
he
Theory
yep.
under the mask. And this was Theory acting on his own to kind of audition for the Vision, and he saw what was happening with the Vision and he wanted to be a part of it, and he said he wore the mask because he wanted people to see his actions before they saw his face, which I think cutting out the frills of the look, be it haircut, beard, and ring attire, that makes sense with that. That he's kind of like, I'm about the action now. I'm about what I'm going to do and not what I'm going to say and going to look like. So I thought it worked on that. And I enjoyed that explanation from him, at least in the moment so far. What did you think about that?
No, I thought that was great. I thought that was great. Storyline wise, it made a lot of sense, right? It made a lot of sense that he did this because he wanted people to see what he was going to do and what he's capable of doing before they put his face onto those actions. And honestly, I think that from a creative standpoint, right? It's almost like you're writing the story based on what creative was trying to do with him or what he wanted to do with creative, right? Which was we need to get people to see how good you actually are in the ring, right? And we need to disassociate from the current version of Austin Theory. So that explanation seems like it was a storyline version of what could have actually been the case, right? And I agree with you. It's what needed to happen. You know what I mean? It's what needed to happen in that he came to the ring, and yeah, I get what you're saying. That ring gear is, I won't say it was minimal because it wasn't. It was definitely some overblown aspects of these knee pads, but I think it was very plain. It was very plain and it was very generic and default on purpose so that you
Right.
don't get,
That's kind of what I'm
yeah,
saying.
so that you don't get wrapped up in the fluff and you just get the stuff.
Hmm.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
It matches. He wanted it to be about what he did, not about the preconceived notion of Austin Theory.
Right, right. I'm with it. I'm with it, and I'm curious to see next week where we go with this because yeah, he painted this picture that this was all him, that Paul didn't know about this, and not everyone was completely sold on Theory. Breaker certainly was not. Breaker certainly was not. And when we had the interaction between Bronson Reed and Austin Theory before their match, they were also not on the same page. They were not on the same page because Bronson was like, hey, just come out there and follow my lead. And he was like, how about I start the match and you follow my lead?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. This is a different side of Theory. And, I wish genuinely that more heel turns or more character changes were approached this way. It feels very old school. in the sense that like the person went away, they came back, and there is a total shift in demeanor. You know what I mean? Like there's a total shift in demeanor, there's a total shift in focus, and you're playing directly to it. It was very much what Naomi did, and it worked out wonderfully for her. I'm hoping that whatever it is that they're leaning into with Austin Theory right now is something that is natural to him and something that he can deliver on in a very natural way. That's definitely what got Naomi over with her heel turn. Was it was so natural for her to be that character that it resonated with everybody. And yeah, Austin Theory was getting Austin Theory chance when he revealed himself. So there's no better time than right now for this guy to be reinventing himself and trying something new. And he's always been capable in the ring, and the dude looks like $1 million. So, if he can stay healthy, I didn't know he was injured.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, he was hurt. Or I had heard that. I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's what I saw
Yeah.
on the internet a while back.
Yeah, because he had left abruptly.
Yeah, it was like he was there and doing the stuff with Grayson Waller, and they were kind of getting involved with the New Day, and then he just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, and then you had Grayson Waller talking about how he dropped a dead weight.
Yep.
Yeah, it was you just gone. But yeah, no, dude, he's doing great. The vision looks good right now. And yeah, and Punk and Mysterio lost. They lost the
Mhm.
Theory in Austin and Bronson Reed. So he's got a W. He came through. Now how did they lose again? I forgot. How Punk and Ray lost. They didn't lose just straight up, did they?
How did that match finish? I gotta think, because I was more concerned with how it happened. But I mean, one, I think they needed to win. Had Theory, you know, come back and immediately lost, I don't think that would have been good. Didn't he? Bronson Reed was about to get 619, and then Theory kind of took it himself and saved him from it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the point right now. Let's see. CM Punk and Bronson Reed neutralized both competitors in the final moments. Austin Theory seized the moment of his de facto audition for the Vision by knocking Rey
He
Mysterio
hit the
off the
stomp,
ropes. Oh, yeah.
right? And he
Oh,
hit
it
a
hit him with
stomp.
a stomp. Yes.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
interesting. I liked that little piece.
Yes, I like that too. Oh, that's the thing. I found it interesting that he finished that match with the stomp. I found it interesting that he's wearing this color scheme that was so
Yeah,
iconic
I
for
I get
Seth
what
at
you're
one
saying. I
point.
hadn't thought about that, but yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it was so iconic for Seth at one point. That was the look he wore after he came back from his first knee injury when he was wrestling Roman.
yes, when the hair was kind of blacked
Yeah.
out for the first time.
Yeah, and it was such an iconic look, and for him to come back with this color scheme and to finish the match with the stomp, ooh, like it leads to some juicy stuff that you can play with next week, right? With how does Breaker feel about this? Breaker kicked Seth out, quote unquote, right? And they all turned on Seth, and now you have Austin Theory showing up here, right? He's auditioning for the Vision, and he's taking charge of himself, but he's doing all of Seth's, well, not all of Seth's moves, but he's now doing the stomp as, we don't know if he's doing it as his finisher, but he definitely finished Ray with it. And he's done it a couple times now. And it just paints such a cool picture, man, because now I'm thinking when Seth does eventually come back, how this can add an additional wrinkle, you know what I'm saying, to this whole thing. Like, I thought it would be so cool if, you know, Seth comes back and you find out that like Austin Theory is Seth's guy. That
Yeah,
Austin Theory was sent here by Seth to infiltrate the Vision. You know what I'm saying? And like be his eyes and ears while he was recovering. And there's so much you can do. There's so much you can play with. And this is what happens when you have like good storytelling wrapped up in your good matches. Like, just do this on SmackDown or try at least. But like all the juice is over here, man. And it's just so much here to squeeze, and you can just talk about it all day. But, another great week of wrestling, though. Another
Yeah,
great
I
week of
mean,
wrestling.
yeah, I think it was a good for it being the taped Christmas show. I thought they followed up on stuff we saw last week well.
I agree.
And hey, we asked for clarification on Javon Evans and we got it
Oh,
on
we did.
commentary. They said he's appearing on both shows. He's still signed to NXT, but he is considered a free agent. And he's talking with both brands.
Yeah, and that's a great place for him to be right now. Like, put this guy in front of as many eyes as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just let people see how talented he really is. You know what I mean? And the sky is genuinely the limit for this dude. One, because he be flying so high in the skies, like I don't know how far he can actually go, but he's great in the ring. He's very, very talented, and he's a natural on the microphone. He knows his lane and he plays it well, and it works for him tremendously. And like I can't say this enough. Saturday night's main event, you have Cody Rhodes versus Oba Femi. Oba has a presence about him that is undeniable. That guy is going to hit the main roster like a freaking crater. You know what I'm saying? He's going to hit like an asteroid, and it's going to be incredible to watch. And then I'm watching that triple threat match between Javon Evans, Oba Femi, and Trick Williams. Dude, that was such an incredible, incredible match. Skeener, if you haven't watched that match from Stand and Deliver, if you have like 15 minutes
Yeah,
and
I
you're just
need
sitting
to.
around and want to watch something, throw that match on. It's on YouTube. Dude, that's an incredible, incredible, incredible match from start to finish. Just one of the best matches I watched all year. And when Trick Williams gets on this roster, too, if you have the three of them on the main roster at the same time, whoever has two out of the three of those people are going to have their roster stacked. Stacked, 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 because they put on a great show and the crowd loves them. You know what I mean? The crowd loves them. They were just particularly Trick and Oba. During that match, those entrances were just dueling for who gets louder. Like the crowd was doing the Oba chants when he came out, and it was just like the whole stadium's rocking. The whole
Yeah.
stadium's rocking. And then Trick comes out, right? Well, Trick came out first. But when Trick came out, of course, man, whoop that Trick come on. And the whole crowd is in it. You know what I'm saying? And Trick comes out there like a freaking superstar. It just works. And then Javon Evans is freaking Javon Evans. I'm so proud of those three dudes. Like, they are just going to literally hit the ground running when they get up here. And it makes you feel bad for Carmelo. It makes me feel bad for Carmelo because Carmelo was supposed to be that dude. He was supposed to be him. And he's come up here and he's been relegated. They're trying to do something with him, and the dude's uber talented, right? But I feel like Javon Evans, currently within the main roster, is being handled a little better than Carmelo was when he came up. And I feel like when Trick or Oba hits up here, they're going to be handled way better than Carmelo did. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm eagerly awaiting that. Oba is still the champ, and I'm not sure who they're going to put in front of him that could take that title off of him. But Trick ain't got no championship right now. Like, bring that man up. I need him to debut at the Royal Rumble or something, because he's right. But I could talk about them three all day. This is a great week of wrestling. This is a great week in general because it's Christmas. It was fun. I'm actually glad Christmas is over. I love Christmas when it's happening, and it's always like a big build up to it, and I just enjoy hanging out with my family and spending time with folks. And then you get that period between like December 26th and December 31st, right? Where the world is still sleeping from Christmas and getting ready
Hmm.
for whatever it is they're about to do on New Year's. I love that period. It's so quiet outside. I ain't hear a single kid in the park today. It made me smile. It made me smile. Not because I don't like the kids, but it's like I know that them kids are either tuckered out or they're inside playing with all the stuff they got, and the neighborhood is just quiet, peace and quiet. I sound like a freaking boomer, but anyway, listen, great week of wrestling. Skeener, your big takeaway from this week in wrestling.
I'd say savor it because man, this year flew by. and we're coming up. We're hitting our first year end as a podcast here. But I mean, look, we had John Cena's last match, not too long ago, 13 days ago, as of now, as we record this, and he was right. Things roll on. Aside from mentioning Gunther beat him, John Cena's gone. We didn't mention him. Things roll on, just like everything else does in life. So be appreciative of the moment you're in and the moments you get because it'll roll on.
Agreed. Agreed. My takeaway from this week in wrestling, I think I'm going to, in the spirit of what you said, Skeeter, I'm going to say be ready to embrace the future.
Mhm.
Wrestling is in good hands right now. There are some things that we don't like. We talk about it up here, but we love pro wrestling. And it is in such a generally healthy space right now that I am so in a different seat than I was in 2024 going into 2025 when the Netflix deal is about to be, you know what I'm saying, official. And we're about to get our first episode on Netflix in a couple weeks. And what is this going to look like? The state of where WWE was at the time was good, but we were still, feeling what this is going to look like. And in the year 2025, we went through a lot of different things. We had the ESPN app come into play. We had the whole Cena farewell tour come into play. And we had WrestlePalooza. It's easy to forget all these things that happened in 2025. But ultimately, these were seeds that were being planted, laying the framework for what is going to become more regulated going into 2026. And 2026 should be a year of execution. If 2025 was a year of scaffolding, then 2026 is the year of executing. And we should be able to execute on the things that we've laid out in 2025, and we should be able to execute them well in 2026. This podcast started in 2025. And 2026, I'm looking forward to it being a bigger and better year than 2025. So embrace your past, be cognizant of your present, and look forward to the future. Like that's the best way to go about life in general. So, take the words of Skeeter and myself and apply them. You'll get us one more time in the year of our Lord 2025 for the first annual Lariats, where we'll be giving out our superlatives for a multitude of different categories, including match of the year for men and women, wrestler of the year, men and women, the biggest up and coming stars in 2026, most improved. There may be a couple of others, but it might just be those six. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. We love doing little special things like this. We did a lot of this with Ring Rust. And it's something that I do want to do a little bit more of on the Lariat Lounge, is some special episodes where we do something a little bit different, throw a little bit of a wrinkle in the khakis. You know what I mean? And we're going to do a little bit more than 2026, but you'll just have to come back, check us out, see what it is that we're doing in 2026 because it's going to be fun. Skeeter, please let everyone know where they can tune in, where they can listen to us next week, where they can follow the Lariats, and they can also let them know that we will be doing a little bit of something on Instagram as well so that they can participate with the Lariats.
Alrighty. The Lariat Lounge is coming at you once a week, every week, as a podcast, everywhere you get your shows, be it YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. We are over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. Gonna throw up a few polls and hopefully you all will participate in these Lariat Awards and we'll get together some nominees and give you write-in options too for some of these categories once we finalize them. That'll be going on at over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. And as always, feel free to drop us an email at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com with any of your thoughts on anything we talked about or anything in the world of wrestling. Or if you just want to tell us what you got for Christmas, how your holidays were, we're happy to hear that too.
I'd love to hear what you guys unwrapped on Christmas. Like straight up, I would love to hear what some of you all got for Christmas because I love gift giving. It's freaking awesome. If somebody got a championship belt for Christmas, I won't be so jealous. But I hope you all had a great holiday. We should have some of that stuff up on Instagram by the weekend. So Saturday, Sunday at the latest, that stuff will be up because I still have to put together all of these things and then get them over to Skeens so he can get them up on socials for you guys. But be on the lookout for that. It'll be coming very, very soon. Enjoy SmackDown tonight, folks. It should be fun. We'll be watching and we'll be talking about it all next week. From your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Please watch yourself on the way out.